I like the constructor approach. That's trying to get Jure and Oliver into this as well, by turning it into a learning opportunity. Like, what would be your, because this is it's in your interest, right? If you get bad companies coming to you, people who don't know what they should know, they're going to waste their time and yours, and you'll be annoyed, and you'll have, indigestion and all of that stuff. So what lessons, or what gentle kind of guidance would you give to companies from the Balkans and perhaps Central Eastern Europe?
I think what you said is totally true. Everything is out there. If you read the web, if you read the blogs, if you get yourself educated, you can really get quite sophisticated about the whole startup thing and about the whole investing thing. It's not, and that's actually for me really an important criteria to build this kind of level of sophistication, level of understanding how a startup should be set up, how a startup should be ventured, how a startup should evolve. There's hundreds of interesting blogs out there to read and to discuss, and you need to get yourself to that level of thinking, to that level of benchmarking yourself, and then have these conversations, not before. Otherwise, you're wasting each other's time. So in Austria, for example, we're trying to build this ecosystem. We have built up a cluster where people can meet. This October, there's going to be a whole week, a startup festival. So anybody who wants to come to Vienna, October this year, it's going to be a big event, exactly for that purpose. Get people smarter, get people educated about our business, and it's starting to be professionalized much more than has been maybe a couple of years ago.
I want to touch up on the community stuff. One thing that's also very prevalent in Silicon Valley is like, there's a lot of informal events, right? There's events like this, but there's also just like 8-person entrepreneur dinners. So like, the more you hang around with people that are building cool stuff, you guys can beat each other up, right? And you can start learning from each other. And yeah, it accelerates your growth so much. So open up, share your ideas quicker, talk to more people. Even if the people aren't necessarily as sophisticated as something, you guys will just start learning, and then you guys will kind of grow up together, right? I mean, Silicon Valley didn't grow overnight too. It took 50 years to get to the point where it is now, right? So you got to start somewhere, right? So yeah, events like that in October I think sound great.
Yeah.
Also, I think programs like CEED, they provide some, you all went through those programs, and you know that you get some knowledge from there, and also all the informal events here across Slovenia, Croatia, you get plenty of information about this. But I'm just giving one example. A company is working on their business plan, and they've been working for the last 6 months. And every time I meet them, they say that they're working on their business plan. And I'm wondering what kind of a nuclear bomb will come out of it, because we don't read those stuff. It's for me five-page presentation and a good executive summary. That's it. And we can go on from there, and I'm sure that old Dan is on the same page as well. But do not send me the 100-page business plans, because I won't read it. And a lot of people still don't know this here in the region.
It reminds me of a friend who had this saying that he liked, that I plan to have a plan. But planning is a kind of a tricky thing anyway, because it's like predicting the future and then trying to convince the other guys with a straight face that I actually know what's going to happen, which nobody does.
Sounds hollow.
Quite hollow, yes.
So, in these plans, what are the things that you're most looking for? Is it, how they're going to reach customers? Is it the financial targets they're looking for, which are like this? What is it that's crucial for you in the first document you see, or the first plan that someone puts in front of you? What are the things that turn you on or turn you off when you look through those 5 pages or 2 pages?
Tell us what you do. Tell us what you do. That's the key. Don't talk about the long-term vision, what's gonna change the world in 20 years. Tell us what you do. Because if it's not there, if you tell us that it's gonna create, I don't know, what kind of opportunities, it's great. Okay, we can. If we understand the product, we are going to get there. But if we don't know what the product is in the first place, it's never gonna happen. We are not gonna talk.
Right. My head might be actually quite hollow, but you don't need all the answers from the entrepreneurs themselves. Like, is that what I'm getting? That's actually something that I'm taking away from what you just said. Is that tell us what you do, and then your brain will start racking, and you'll figure out if what they do is something that fits into your view of the world, and then if you can take that somewhere.
Yeah,
Is
actually,
that true or partially true or complete bullshit?
Actually, what's happening is that there can be two outcomes. Either my brain doesn't start rocking, which means that I don't get it. I might be stupid enough not to get it. Either it does, in which case we should talk. But first of all, I need to understand what you do. I don't need to understand what's going to be the implication 50 years from now after you IPO, after you get all the product development in place. I need to know what you do at the moment.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I also like to play with stuff. I mean, I'm in the world of consumer internet, stuff that people use their product, like, physical customers, like an end use case, not like a B2B stuff. So give me something to play with. I mean, that's really, really important. And if you get something cool there and I kind of like tinkering with it, well then, yeah, I want to talk to you more. If it sucks, then I don't want to talk to you anymore. Done.
So it's not a completely irrational process, right? I mean, if you start liking something, you will be inclined to like it.
Yeah, we're humans. I mean, we have to kind of wow us, right? It's like, I don't like just talk. I like doing it. If something kind of works and it's pretty, yeah, I'm gonna like go after it more. If it's not looking so good, then yeah.
There's this kind of terrible pitch training thing everywhere. Everybody talks about how to have the perfect pitch, and then they completely forget about the product. And I just I can't hear these totally educated, excited pitches anymore. It's not interesting. It's interesting to have the product in front of you and to have the entrepreneur in front of you, and then you make already some sort of mental decision. And everything else is bullshit.
I'd also say be honest. Like some people, like I know some great engineer guys or entrepreneurs, and they in the beginning of their careers are really nervous because they're bad presenters, right? Just be yourself, and we'll kind of see. Okay, this guy just needs somebody to compliment him, but he's got this kind of creative nerd genius that's going to sell the company, right? So be yourself. If you don't have an answer to something, then tell somebody honestly, right? Or say, hey, this is what we're planning. I don't know if these 5 things are going to work for distribution. But just tell what you think is going to happen, right? And we want to see also how you think. Not necessarily that you have all the answers, but you know what? You guys don't have the answers. I don't have the answers either. But if you think logically and you kind of have like a really good way of kind of approaching a problem, that's also very interesting to us. And I want to just see like kind of a little snapshot of how you work. And hopefully, that's interesting. So, yeah.
Is it my failing vision, or did I actually see someone's hand over there? Oh, there you go. I can still see.
Thanks. I'm from consulting business. I'm not an IT person, yeah. But I'm interested in this, your views on entrepreneurship culture and, let's say, the quality of entrepreneurship in IT, especially in Western Balkans, in Balkans as a region, compared to, let's say, Western Europe, compared to America. How do you compare things? Yeah, can this be compared? The density, the number, the quality. Can you tell us a little bit about this? And this is one. And the second is it like unsolicited project proposals? You first receive business plan and then you meet entrepreneur, or it's other way around? Or there is no rule?
Okay, so I'll just give you my perspectives, having started 2 companies in one in San Francisco, one in Chicago, and actually started my first company ever in Poland. So the way I look at it is, San Francisco is kind of like the Mecca. So people come from all over the world, and it just self-selects really hungry people, right? So in there, the culture is really thriving because just over the years, there's gotten a really good reputation. I find that Central and Eastern Europe tend to be more scrappier, has really good engineering sources, and people here are hungrier than, let's say, Western Europe. Just whenever I see 2 companies like working on similar models, and one guy's in France and another guy's in Poland or Ukraine, I tend to get more excited about the guy in Poland or Ukraine, because from what I've seen in my pattern recognition, is that, yeah, people are willing to go farther, they're less comfortable, and their companies are up and coming and growing, they want to prove themselves, versus somebody in Western Europe might be like, yeah, things are pretty good and they're relaxed, and their culture in general does not encourage entrepreneurship as much. People have their parents and their whole family and their kind of friend ecosystems kind of push them down. Here it's like, well, yeah, you start a company maybe almost out of necessity sometimes. So that's kind of the big difference I see. And then also different countries around the world have different stuff too, right? Like Africa, there's different problems, and Latin America has different stuff as well too. But that's what I've seen, Western, Eastern, and United States kind of differences? Maybe you guys have a different perspective too.
I think that this is a huge difference because there is no safety net for many of those guys here. So they have to do something. Otherwise, they don't have any job for 2,000 net per month. In Germany, France, most probably they can get another job doing this.
I think there is another difference which is coming from the history, because if you look at everything east of Austria and Germany, to a lesser degree here, Western Europe, for example, has 50 years of entrepreneurship ahead of us. So people do learn now about entrepreneurship, the fruits that they can get out of entrepreneurship. Before it was you finish a good school and you get a state job and that's your life, okay? And this was valid on even 20 years ago, okay? So there is a change in mentality that still needs to be completed. It's not complete yet.
What was your second question? Sorry, I forgot it.
Do you first read them or you read the business plan?
Oh, okay. For us, it's an open application process. So anybody here could go on to ventures.io and you apply, and then we kind of go have like a 1 month kind of like sorting through the application process. For other people, it's different, and I'm guessing most of the way to reach these guys, I'm guessing is through introductions, right? Yeah. Cold emails are actually pretty bad usually.
Actually, I do a lot of them.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's pretty rare. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do a lot of cold calls. I get to know people that hear about the company. If I hear about the company from the right people, of course, and I hear good things that might be interesting for me, I don't have any problem cold calling them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, also email is rare. I mean, we haven't, so from the 8 investments we've done so far was 0 from email or from cold call. It was mainly either from some network contact or us going to some event and or finding the most, then seeing 10, 15 companies and then approaching the most interesting ones. So typically, yeah, network is important and being out there again, speaking to people again, finding your ways.
LinkedIn and Facebook are your friends. Trust me.
All right, we have a question in the front row.
Hi, I'm a consultant and live in the States, and I'm just wondering, one of you mentioned that one of the criteria they look into it is also some of the altruistic interests that you have. So I find that some of the social impact investment is getting some traction also, at least in the US market. Do you see that that's going to be one of the future trends, even in your business or even as part of your fund, in your decision making when you're making decisions who you're going to be investing in?
Yes, it doesn't mean I mentioned that. So for me, I have no interest in doing altruistic-based investments. I have a really hard time if somebody's going for pure money and then you throw like another kind of, they call it the second bottom line. I think that confuses the vision of the company sometimes. People have done it properly. I don't know if I believe in it personally. What I was saying about altruistic is that we had really great mentors, investors that helped my career and people that helped out and didn't ask for one thing at all in my career that kind of stumbled across. So we want to be the same kind of giving factor. We want to kind of give our time and be really helpful to these young companies because somebody helped us along the way. That's what I meant. But I think there will be a lot more people trying to go do that kind of that double bottom line. I just have a hard time myself, wrapping my head around how you kind of balance it perfectly. Because one way you can lean to being way too much NGO kind of nonprofit, other way you could go be pure capitalist and how you do it. But what's really cool is when you actually use kind of like the double bottom line to help market a company. I mean, you could go out and say, hey, we give away 1% of our thing to charity, and if that helps sell the product more, then as an investor, I'm really excited about stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the question is what do you understand through altruistic investments? Because in the end, if you want, investors need to make money. By their charter, we need to make money. But for example, Intel, there is Intel Foundation which invests $100 million a year in education. Okay, this is a grant. We don't expect to get a profit out of it. At the same time, us as Intel Capital, we invest in companies that do products for the education market. And actually, they make quite a bit of money, and we are quite happy about it. So if you look at education, do we qualify as an altruistic investor or not?